Supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thanks so much for joining us for season 1, episode 9, Home. We model responsible drunkenness here. All of us are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, or operating heavy machinery. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to play by the rules and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Just again, I don't want to leave it to the end when I might not be sober / might not remember to say it. But we're going to be doing a season wrap up episode in between seasons 1 and 2. So if there are any things that you think that we should talk about, if there are any questions you have you want us to address in that episode, make sure to leave us a comment and we'll be sure to talk about that. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
I went for something a little different tonight, so I'm doing a vodka and soda.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to be honest. I don't feel terribly good about the cocktail for this episode. I'm going to hell. It is called I'm on Fire, and it's not good. It is 2 ounces of mezcal, 1 ounce of pineapple juice, 3/4 of an ounce of honey syrup, which is just equal parts of honey and hot water mixed together, and a half an ounce of lime juice. Add in 2 dashes of hot sauce or a little more if you're feeling extra spicy. Shake that with some ice and serve.
I gotta
Uh,
say, that sounds awful.
we're going to find out. So,
Sounds
uh,
awful.
so I do. I hope it's not, but we're going to find out. Um, I did want to say before we take a look at our game cards for this evening, it has been a strange few days
Yes,
here in the
yes, it
Northeast.
has been.
So we had an earthquake on Friday, and then today we had an eclipse. So I gotta say, I think that Sam and Dean had a very long weekend, but whatever apocalyptic event was about to happen, they've clearly averted it because here we all are. Um, but there was a point where I was like, if I see an Impala drive down the street, I'm hopping in it. It's like, that is clearly Sam and Dean on the road, and I'm going with them.
As long as you stop by and pick me up on the way, and I'll just figure out something to tell my husband.
Yeah, hunting trip. Bye. Well, now this brings up a question I have not asked you. I know, you haven't seen the whole series all the way through, but to the point where you've watched to this point, do you think you would consider yourself a Sam girl or a Dean girl? It's a tough call. Gut
I would,
reaction.
I, I would say Dean.
God damn it, I can't pick you up then. Nope. If you had said Sam girl, I would have come and picked you up, but no, sorry. Not sharing. Go ahead.
It's funny because it's funny where I am in the series.
Mhm.
Things are, and I'm not gonna
Mm-mm.
give anything away.
Nope,
Um,
spoilers. No spoilers.
things are changing such
Mhm.
in their characters that
Yeah.
they're kind of doing a flippy.
Yes.
So it's like, wait a second
Yeah.
here. So yeah, gonna be interested to see where they go with this.
Indeed. Indeed. We've got a lot to look forward to. All right. Well, so I'll send you a postcard from the road. On that note, Wizard Dave, can you bring up our Stupornatural game cards for us? Let's take a quick look at these and see. I have to be honest. I know I say this every week and I end up being wrong. Um, I I don't honestly have a good feeling about this one.
I don't either. I think I've got 2.
Okay, so
Literally,
yeah.
I think I can confidently say I've got 2.
Okay, well, let's find out. We may do a little bit of cheating. Let's see what happens. So, as always, the first one is on the house. Oh,
Cheers.
Sláinte, you know, it's not bad.
Well, I'm glad you're drinking it.
It's not bad. I'm not gonna lie. It's still way better than the shapeshifter.
I think a lot of things would have been
Yeah,
actually,
that
though, when
bar
you
was
read
low.
that ingredients list, I was like, "Oh, dear God." Um,
It's just, it tastes a little bit like a spicy margarita.
ooh,
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
okay. Okay,
Uh,
never mind. My opinion may be changing
uh,
dramatically.
I have to say I was a little concerned about it at first too, but I am pleasantly surprised. Um, all right, well, as always, if you're playing along with us, you can generate a card of your own from the link in the link tree. So, with that, let's get this show on the road.
Yes. Alrighty. So, like every time, we've got baby Sam in bed, putting him to bed. Mama comes in. Mama's on the ceiling, and now we're bas- basically they're just on the hunting trip. Dad hasn't been home, and it's now mom's not coming back, and don't talk about her like that. So
Now,
now we're
interestingly enough, this is our very first different previously on segment. This is the first time they've done something substantively different since we started.
yeah. Mhm.
It's
So
much more
now we
mom
have
based.
yeah, so now we have the main character Jess, and she's looking at pictures from her wedding. So I am led to believe that the husband has recently deceased.
Yeah, they
Eh,
don't tell us, but yeah, that's what you're we don't know if he left her, although she seems to be very nostalgic about the photo, which tell me how much you love that 80s wedding dress with the big puffy sleeves
I know. Oh
and
my
the big
lord.
hair. Like that's oh my goodness, that's a great wedding look. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the husband is deceased. They don't specifically say it, but
So yeah,
um,
so and the daughter is convinced there is something in that closet, and mom is like, "Nope, nope, it's time to go to bed." And the daughter is not feeling this house.
mm-mm.
Can't understand why.
Well, we're about to find out why, but honestly, if you're a parent, I mean, how many times have you heard stories of like moving and the kid is really not a fan of the new
Oh yeah.
house?
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
No.
they've got to leave their friends. They maybe have a school, where people they know. So moving is tough on kids. And I don't n- no parent's first reaction is, "Oh yeah, there's a flaming ghost in the closet." Of course.
Oh yeah. No. No, but what cracks me up is, and you see it in a moment here, is she's going through all the old stuff as she's starting to unpack, and she's hearing the rattling and the
Oh,
tapping and all that. So
rats.
it's not like she's not suspecting something is like, I feel like she's suspecting something also. I love this. God, don't let it be rats. Personally, if
Right.
when you find out the difference, I think she'd prefer the rats.
I'm sure she would prefer the rats over a poltergeist, but you don't want to move into a brand new house and find out it's infested with vermin either.
No.
My very first apartment, the very first night in the apartment, I turned the lights on and I saw roaches scatter. And I went,
Ew.
"Oh hell no." Like, no, no, no. This is not gonna happen. Um, Go ahead.
No, no. So I was just gonna say, so yeah, so now we find out why the daughter is not liking
Mhm.
this house, and because the chair is moving on its own.
Yeah, not good, not good.
No, no,
Um,
chairs are not supposed to do that.
no, this is not Beauty and the Beast where the chair is alive. This is not okay. Um, the other thing I do want to mention as well is that I think there's a parallel here to the pilot where
Oh
she's
yes.
saying there's something in her closet, and then Sam had that line in the pilot about, there was something in my closet and Dad gave me a 45. Um,
I actually had totally forgotten about that
mm,
line. But yeah, no, that's definitely that's an excellent parallel. And of course,
mhm,
now we're figuring out whose house this is, and
right.
everything is suddenly becoming very, very clear because it's the Winchesters' house.
Yeah, they're in
The-
Lawrence, Kansas, and this is the Winchester's house.
And now you see a something on fire in the girl's closet, and it's moving toward her, and the girl screams.
Yeah, because that's what one
Oh yeah,
does.
that's I believe me. If there was something walking toward me, and
Oh,
yeah, I'd be
on
screaming also.
fire, I'm out. Unless it was killing a spider. If it's on fire because it's killing a spider, then it can stay.
So yeah, so now we realize that Sam is having a nightmare about this, which, as we know, when Sam has a nightmare about something, that's not a good sign.
It's not. I am going to pause this though, because this is a quirky motel room.
Oh
So,
yes,
so let's check our game cards and see if either one of us has a
I
motel
feel.
room. I'm not seeing one. I do not have one, and I am very sad.
No,
While you're checking your card, yeah, it sounds like you don't have one either.
no. I got excited for a second. I realized it was a wacky diner.
Oh, yeah. So, no, it's a quirky motel room and a wacky
Yeah.
diner. Get it right.
Oh, I know. Nuts.
No, it's fine. I did have a question for you before we hit play again. So, I know that you moved a bit when you were young. Did you ever have anybody leave something behind? Like, did you ever move into a new house and the previous owner had left stuff behind?
I I'm trying to think. In the house we're in now,
Mhm.
yes.
It,
But growing up, not that I remember,
not so
but I
much.
mean, I was very young. Like when we moved to England, I was 6.
Okay, so you wouldn't have,
So,
even if they had left something behind, you wouldn't have remembered.
yeah, no, I wouldn't have remembered. And when we moved back to Boston, I was 10.
Yeah.
So, still,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have remembered. And
Wouldn't
actually,
have
I'm
remembered.
fairly certain I got sent to my grandparents so that I wasn't there during moving
You were
time.
not underfoot. And
Yes.
so as you said, like the way that we realize we're in the Winchester's old home in Lawrence, Kansas, is that the mother is going through the basement and she finds an old like a little storage chest of old
Yes.
family photos. And I started thinking like, now, understanding that the Winchesters moved out of this house under really tragic circumstances, so it's not surprising they left some things behind. But it's been 22 plus. years, and that box of photos is still there. So I found that to be kind of interesting that just nobody did anything. If anybody else had moved into the house before now, they didn't do anything with it. But I started thinking, like, anytime I've moved into a house and the previous occupant had left something behind, it was always shit. Like, it was always
Yes.
something no one would want, that they just left behind because it was crap and they didn't want it. It was never anything nice. So I was,
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think the oddest thing is that, like, when we moved into our current home, the owners, like, left, like, the wife had left, like, a bunch, like a small wardrobe thing of clothes in the front closet. And the husband was like, "Well, I still have my key. I can just come in and get it." And we were like,
no,
"Oh,
you can't.
hell no."
No, you can't. It's my house now, asshole.
Yeah, no, we're like, "No, no." And suddenly I was like, yeah, we're changing those locks." 'Cau-
Immediately.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, no, you can't have a key to my home.
Yeah.
Like, th-
No.
no, 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 no. Ducky says, no, no,
I
no.
don't know. No, no. So before we hit play, this is the first time that we've revisited Sam's nightmare since Bloody Mary. So at this point, he hasn't really admitted to Dean
Yep,
what's going on with him.
yep.
And then
Which
on top of that, he's drawing this tree on the hotel stationery.
right.
Um,
Yep.
and I thought we're going to see it in just a minute when I hit play. Because he was 6 months old when they moved out of this house. He has no memory of the house or the yard,
No.
but we're about to see he remembers it from a photo. So
Yes.
I thought that was kind of telling that, like, Dean recognizes, like, he has some memories of the house because he was a little older. But it's just a sign that Sam doesn't. He was too small.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I think this next scene is very interesting.
It is. This is a great scene. So we saw Dean sleeping shirtless, but only from like the shoulder blade up, which was a little sad.
Yeah.
But now they're looking for a case.
So yeah, so I mean you see Dean like mentioning multiple things, and Sam is clearly like in his own zone, like, yeah, I'm listening, and clearly
He ain't listening.
not really listening at
No.
all.
Oh,
And
wait. I'm so sorry. Did Dean just drink his coffee? Hang on. I'm so
potentially,
sorry.
yeah,
I
well,
I back.
yes, he
Yes!
did. He definitely did right there.
All right, let's check the bingo cards and see. I have Dean eats or drinks.
I had a feeling because you got so excited over that. If you didn't, I was going to be a little curious on that one.
I didn't actually remember it being there. I just I don't know, I just got really excited for some reason.
I was gonna say, for someone who didn't know for certain, you certainly did get awfully excited on
Mm.
that one.
Had I
That
not
was
had it, you would have watched like epic sobbing.
Yep, and I did not have it.
You
So, which
don't have it. All
I
right.
was pretty confident I did not have it.
Okay. Well, more for me. Uh,
Yep.
all right. So,
All right, so we're going back to, I love this scene because now we see Sam is scrambling because he's like, I know this, I know this tree from somewhere, and he goes, I know where we need to go. And he goes home, back to Kansas, and just look at and you just see Dean's
yes.
face, like, what the fuck? And like, to me, it's just his entire demeanor completely changes in this scene.
Immediately, yeah,
Yeah,
and Sam is just not he's not clocking it. He doesn't see how upsetting this is to Dean. You're absolutely right.
yeah, and he's just like, I have these dreams, they come true. There's someone in the house. She's get
Mhm.
They're going to be hurt. We got to do this. And he's like, no, no, you got to give me more than this. And it's like, I can't. No, dude, if I'm going to go back there, you got to give me more.
Yeah, and
And
I do love this exchange where he says, "I have these nightmares," and Dean says, "I've noticed," because they're like in each other's pockets all the time.
yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, I don't think Dean's ever really, I mean, we all have nightmares. What I
sure.
love is look at the way they're filming this. Look at how the light splits Dean's face in half.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love the camera angle is
Yep.
almost constantly with him splitting Dean's face in half.
Yeah,
I
how
think it's
conflicted it is.
brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well spotted. I completely agree with you.
So
So,
yeah, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we're gonna let this play out for a second, but I think we can call this a heartfelt bromance because look at his face.
I
Like,
know.
oh my goodness. So we're
Yeah,
like I said, we're gonna let this play out and we'll check the game cards. Go ahead, Lynn.
but I love how usually Dean we see the witty side of Dean, the sarcastic
Mhm.
side of Dean, and you see a completely torn up, wrecked side of Dean here. And it's one of, in my
Yeah.
opinion, one of the few times we see this, at least up till now. Like look at that. I love how that's framed.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. And he's like, I know we've got to do this, but it's like this is the last thing I want to fricking do. And I know I've got to do it. So now we're back in Lawrence. We're back at the house, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, I can't." Like
Yeah.
you can feel the sigh of like, "Oh dear Lord, what are we doing?"
Yeah. Like this is someplace I promised myself I would never be.
Yeah, and of course he immediately goes into con mode, and Sam is just
Mhm.
like, let's try some good old fashioned honesty here.
Right.
Of we're the Winchesters and we used to live here. And she of course is like, oh yeah, I saw your photos the other night. It's like, novel thing how honesty works in this. So come
Every
on
once
in.
in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that this is a little strange. Like two strange men show up on your doorstep, and oh yeah, come in the house, look around, help yourself. These are my kids. You guys are not axe murderers, right? Like you're totally saying it's okay for me to invite you in.
Yeah. I love this comment about he's a juice addict, so at
He's
least
a
he won't
juice
get
junkie.
scurvy. I
He
love
won't
that
get
line.
scurvy. Yeah,
I love that line.
got a little juice junkie on their hands.
So yeah. So and if I remember correctly, I saw a trivia comment about that somewhere, and I can't
You
remember what it
probably
was about that, but oh, that's going to annoy me.
Well, there's something about the child safety latch on the fridge.
Oh
But
yes,
it's going to be more obvious a little bit later. But yeah, you probably
yes. Oh
spotted
yeah.
that.
No, that's one of the few errors of the episode.
Mhm. Excuse me.
So yeah. So in this, so I love how she's like, no offense to your house, but this place has some issues. And they're like, what types of issues? Because of course she doesn't realize who she's talking to.
Right, right.
Of like the when she's talking about the when she starts talking about the rats and the scratching, it's like, have you actually seen them, or have it's like, no, I just hear them. And then when the little girl starts talking about the the fireball in the closet, and it's like, oh no,
Hmm.
it's just a nightmare. No, there really was. It's like, no, wait a minute. She doesn't quite realize who she's talking to here.
Right.
This scene just cracks me up. I love it.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, she's having nightmares, and the two of them are like, oh no, you're haunted. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry, baby, you got problems.
Yep. So yeah, so I love this. Both all the signs of a malevolent spirit. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm wondering if that's what killed Mom and Jessica. Has it come back? Or maybe it's something completely different. So yeah, I love the way they're like trying to figure out like, hmm, what's our next thing here? And try to take the emotion out of it. Like, okay, what would we do if this was just a regular case? Okay, we would dig into the history of it and all of that. But it's like, all right. And then Sam goes, how much do you remember about that night?
Mhm.
And you can tell Dean is editing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and I especially love this. He says, "I remember the fire, I remember the heat," and there's this long pause before he says, "And then I carried you out the front door." And you can see it all in Dean's face, how much he remembers.
Yes.
And you got it that he's just not telling Sam.
Oh yeah.
Um, and you if you think about that for a second, like what that experience would be like for a 4-year-old, how ingrained in his sense memory that has to be, the smell of the fire, the sound of his mom screaming, like this is a visceral memory for him, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
sharing none of that.
Yeah. Well, he probably, I wonder how much of it is he doesn't want to relive it to he wants to protect his brother. Like
Yeah,
I bet you it's a little bit of both
I
as
completely
to
agree.
and I love the line that they just said of, so does this feel like just a regular job to you? And Dean's like, dude, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, I'm out. Well,
Yeah.
and I wanna talk about this, like, where and we're gonna let this play out for just a second, and I wanna talk about this. This is a great scene.
Yeah, because of course he claims he's going to the bathroom, but you very quickly realize he's calling his dad
Yep.
because yeah, this isn't just a regular case. And he says
No.
like, I've left you messages. I don't know whether you're getting them,
Mhm.
but we're in Lawrence. And you hear his voice cracking. And I
Yeah,
just usually for someone who is sarcastic as all heck, you could hear the emotion just tearing
mhm.
through him. And like
Yeah,
you could see like his jaw and all of that clench up going, I don't know if this is the thing that got mom. I don't know what to do.
yeah,
Please help. Like this is one of the few times I'm begging you for help.
yeah,
Please come. And you can see him just fighting back tears.
yeah, I'm pausing it here. Yeah, this is big. And on top of everything you've mentioned, 'cause like, holy shit, does Jensen knock it out of the park here. This is a great
Yes. Oh,
performance.
100%.
Um On top of all that, the other thing is, and this is something Jensen has talked about, a performance choice he made for Dean, that once he saw Jeffrey Dean Morgan's performance, Jensen thought that because he's an oldest son, he idolizes his father, that he would have attempted to mimic the way his father spoke. And from that point, Jensen deliberately started speaking in a lower voice register for Dean. Like he deliberately lowers his voice when he's Dean. And so that's the Dean voice is a little bit lower than Jensen's actual speaking voice. And what I love about this performance from him is he starts out up here and you see him stop, pull himself together and deliberately lower his voice. And then the longer he's talking, the more it starts to creep up on him until at the end he's doing exactly what you're talking about with like by the time he's like a little boy begging for help by the time like his voice is, I don't want to make it sound like he's, in a falsetto or anything silly like that,
No.
but you see him deliberately stop, go into the Dean voice, and then not be able to hold it. And it's just holy shit, is it a great performance from
Yes.
from him.
Oh yeah.
So we need to check our game cards because that was a heartfelt bromance. So let's see if either one of us
Yep, I have it.
have one of those. Yo, good for you. I don't think that I do.
I have a heartfelt bro moment.
You do. I have Sam or Dean cry, but like we've seen them both get a little choked up, but like I wanna see tears. No, no, so I think that I am out of luck here. So
All right.
enjoy,
Cheers.
enjoy, enjoy. All right, hitting play.
Hitting play. Oh, now we get to, I will admit, one of my least favorite scenes of this episode.
This
Oh,
is so gross. It's awesome.
oh God. I will admit I may have to, I've watched it a couple of times, but I may have to look up this time because
Mm.
twice was plenty. So yeah. So I mean it's very much what is that movie? What the
The
Chucky.
Shining.
Yeah, it is
Oh,
very
oh, you
Chucky. Isn't Chucky the one that has the thing that goes like that?
perhaps, but it's. I think that that's an homage to The Shining.
Ah,
Um, like that the monkey with the symbols that like okay, who lets their kid play with a toy that's it's that fucking freaky? Like just keep
yes.
that toy away from your kids. But yeah, that's a Shining thing, and then a lot of other films have
Oh,
used it since then.
oh yeah, yeah. But no, so like he unplugs it. He unplugs the dispenser because of course now we have a plumber trying to unplug a drain, and this toy from The Shining is going off and on by itself,
All
which
by
in
itself.
which in amongst itself is kind of freaky. And now he's got his hands stuck in, and like not
Garbage
much is
disposal.
there. So now he's shoving his hand down even farther, just as this thing is about to start going, and there goes his hand,
Yeah.
and yeah, and he's screaming bloody murder as his hand is getting destroyed. And yeah, all I can say is ew.
Ew, yeah. So we have a gratuitous blood spatter. So let's check our cards here because that is most definitely a gratuitous blood spatter, and I have one.
I do not.
Right. Well, which is appropriate considering I thought that that was very well done, and you were pretending it wasn't happening.
Well, actually, I did watch it. I
Hmm.
will admit. I was just like, okay, Lynn, grow up and watch the stupid Sting.
In general, they do a really good job of treading that line where they stop just short of something that's gonna like just be like, oh, too much. But
Yeah.
um I like how long they tease that out though. That's a long scene where he's like, look, it's unplugged. Look, I've double checked the light switch or the switch. It's definitely off. And he fishes around in that garbage disposal for a year and a half before the monkey starts going. So yeah, they tease the tension out on that a long time.
Yeah. So, but what's funny is that garbage disposals actually supposedly don't use that kind of a blade. It's centrifugal force that's
Mhm.
so really it shouldn't have mangled his hand as much as it's actually portrayed. So that was one of the things that they mentioned in in my research that
Mhm.
it's not exactly portrayed particularly accurately, but for what they needed to do,
It is make believe.
yes,
Oh, all right. We're hitting play.
we're hit and play. So
Oh,
now we are at an auto repair store, and they are now trying to figure out what happened, and
So
like trying
this,
to get more information.
yes, this actor is his name is Don Thompson, and he was in The Watchmen with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who of course plays John Winchester.
Yes. So yeah, so so he's talking about how stubborn he was and how much he hated to lose, and how he kind of, after that fire, and you could tell he wants to say something and he stops himself
Hmm.
from like sort of really repeating what John actually told him, to just saying he kind of lost it. But you can
Yeah.
tell that John told him more and he can't get himself to repeat it.
Hmm.
And it's just like, yeah, no, it was just an accident. And you just, you know that John told him the what was the full truth, and just he thinks, this guy thinks it's so out there that he's just like, yeah, what the hell ever. And he starts talking about how John started going to all these different palm readers. And he's like, and the boys are like, palm readers? So they start looking it up as to the different psychics, and they realize that this one palm reader that they thought was a state, was an actual state that is mentioned in John's journal, is actually a person.
Hmm.
So, and of course, I can't even read my own handwriting.
Well,
Joys of,
so I have paused this briefly because so for anybody who's a little bit younger, what Sam has in this scene is called a phone book. And this is old school technology of how we used to track people down. You had to pay extra money if you did not want to be in the phone book. You could get your number unlisted. Um, but yeah, oh my goodness. And they used to just drop them off at your house. Like one day you would,
yes, yes, they did for
oh, years and years and
years.
years. And it was not that long ago they stopped delivering them. Because I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? It's all online.
Yeah,
Uh, but you were about to say something about Missouri.
yes, yes, Missouri, yes. So yeah, so they suddenly realized that Missouri, as much as yes, it is a state,
It's a state. But
is, but we discovered that Missouri is much more than a state.
it's a person. So the actress we're about to meet, her name is Loretta Devine. She's
Yes, which,
amazing.
uh-huh, and we should all recognize this actress.
Tell us from where.
Grey's Anatomy.
Which also starred Jeffrey
Uh,
Dean Morgan.
yep, Jeffrey Dean Williams, who is also, yep, who plays the, I'm trying to remember if they actually got married, but the fiance of one of the doctors. So yeah, so it's like, oh, I'm trying to remember, in college, remember we used to play that game of, what was it? The
Oh,
nine,
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon
yeah, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. This is turning into the 6 degrees.
of Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So entertainingly enough, Missouri was intended to be a recurring character. But because of her work on Grey's Anatomy and Boston Public, and she was in a ton of other things,
Yeah.
that her schedule just didn't allow her to return. So we will get a different character fulfilling that role. We'll meet later. But and I got to admit, I'm a little sad that they couldn't keep her. I loved her quite a bit. I think
Oh
she's
yeah.
awesome. So, all right, we're hitting play.
Yes. So yeah. So yeah, because Dean's like, wait a second, Missouri? That's a psychic? It's like, yep, because he immediately goes to the journal, and it
Consult
turns
the
out
journal.
it's the first line in the journal. So first page, first line is I went to Missouri. And he's like, and I learned the truth. And Dean says, I always thought he meant the state, that he
Mhm.
meant the state. And it turns out, nope. There's a person. I love this. Oh, your wife is crazy about you. Ah, poor bastard. His wife is banging the gardener. I love that line.
Now
Cracks
she
me up.
says cold banging the gardener. I can't say I know what cold banging is, but I hope it's enjoyable. So she knows their names.
Yep. Oh yeah. And so yeah, so they wander into her office, and it's, you boys grew up so handsome. You used to be one goofy looking kid. She looks right at Dean.
Yeah. Oh, and Sam is loving her taking the mickey out of Dean. He's loving every second of it. Uh,
And she just immediately
mhm.
starts reading his mind about
Yeah.
Jessica and about his father missing
Mhm.
and everything. And it's like, excuse me? Like, you can see that they're both completely taken aback of, wait a minute. And then of
This
course
woman is the real deal.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But then, of course, when she can't immediately answer all their questions, it's like, who do you think I am, a magician?
You think
And
I'm
he's
some
like,
bony tramp?
and Dean's like, okay, I'll sit down and shut up now.
Don't you put your feet on my coffee table, boy. Like she's taking none of his shit. I love
I
it.
love it. And his facial expressions are on, and Sam is loving every second of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, get him.
Please, please. So, and then things, of course, have to turn serious when it's dad came for a reading, and just the details of that reading of how she just drew the curtains back. And I love that analogy. I think that
Yeah,
analogy
yeah.
is really kind of cool.
Mhm.
I can't explain why I think that's neat, but I just
No,
love it.
it's good. It's good. Well, and this one is written by Eric Kripke. So we're gonna get some nice turns of phrase like that. He's a really talented writer.
Mhm. So
We've
yeah.
got the juice junkie.
So yeah, and you get the mom saying, "But wait a minute, I can't be held liable. Of course, I feel horrible for the guy's hand, but I can't be held liable. All right, I've got to just call you back because she, of course, can hear something banging upstairs,
Right.
and who the heck knows what that is." But then and then all of a sudden we're back at Missouri's again about something is definitely in the house, and at least as far as Sam is concerned, and Missouri I don't know if she's completely convinced, because she's like, I've been keeping an eye on it, and everything seems okay.
Right.
And she can't put she's like, why now?
Yeah, it's been
And
22 years.
yeah, it's like, what, why now would it be acting up? And it's like, I can't explain it either, but just things are not behaving right, like a screw coming directly out
Uh,
without any assistance.
So there's a
And
prison
a
break for
refrigerator.
the juice junkie.
Yep, and a refrigerator door that just decides to open up all by itself.
By itself. Okay, where are the shelves for this refrigerator? Like who stocks a refrigerator like this? You can see that like the eggs are stacked on top of something else and then there's like juice on top of the eggs. Like put the shelves in your refrigerator. You wouldn't need to stack the juice on top of the eggs on top of the juice. Like
Yeah.
come on.
And
And
now you
there's your child
clearly
lock.
see in that shot the things snap closed, like the lock
Right.
snaps
The lock
closed.
is on, the
Yep.
lock is off. The lock is back on, the lock is back off.
So yeah, so this is so of course mom is looking all over for the kid who and the way so and of course there you can
Lock is
clearly
off,
see in the
lock is
shot the
on.
lock is off.
Right.
So it's like,
Lock is off.
oops, lock is off. But now what I think is funny is that no one would have probably thought much and of course now you can see and we she discovers them because of milk. Why would the mom put the lock back on?
Yeah,
Like
I think she was supposed to unlock the lock, but it was open, so, like, as an actor, she just went, "I have to unlock it, so I'm gonna put it back in so I can unlock it," but yeah, it is a little she was doing the best she could, but yeah, there's a little flub there. I do
yeah.
like this is all right, this is a strange analogy to make, I get it. I don't know if you remember the first Back to the Future film where he's got
Yes,
this
I do.
uncle who's in and out of jail his whole life, and then he gets home
Yes.
and the kid's in the playpen with the bars, and he's like, "Get used to being in there."
Yep, I completely remember that. I
Like,
a 100%.
I wonder if his juice junkie trapped in the playpen prison break is in any way like a foreshadowing of what his life is gonna be like.
Oh my lord. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about that movie in years.
No, there was just something about the way it was filmed, it made me think of it. That and they're trying to film this scene and the kid's like like the kid's trying to entertain himself. Oh, and this is great too, where
Yeah.
like there she says, "Oh, this is Sam's nursery," and Sam immediately looks up to the ceiling. "Ooh, we have an EMF
Yeah.
detector. Let's check our cards for an EMF detector."
And I do not have one.
I no.
So
I'm starting to get a little mad about it, I'm not gonna lie. Stingy card.
as I said, I have one other spot I know I'm gonna get, and that's it.
Yeah, we may have to get a little loosey goosey with the
Creative.
rules here.
So yeah, so yeah, I love the fact that a few moments ago, like they look up at the ceiling and you can hear this eerie sound,
Yes. Yep.
and and she, Missouri is like, this isn't the same thing that took your mom,
Mm,
and and then she goes, there's two of them, and they're like, what do you mean? She's
mhm.
like, and she's like, they're not going to be happy until Jessica and both of her kids are dead.
Mhm.
Because I love how she goes on to explain that whatever took your mom created such evil that it left wounds. And that wound has attracted a poltergeist.
Mhm.
And it's just the visual you get in that analogy
Yeah,
is amazing.
I agree. I agree. And it's they're finally getting a little bit of information about what happened to Sam when he was well, and to their mom, to Mary, when Sam was a baby. That whatever was in Sam's nursery that killed Mary was something of such profound evil. It poisoned this house for decades.
Yep.
Like this is not a run of a mill thing. Like something
Yeah.
awful happened in this house.
Yeah. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 100.
This is yeah, this is way above the line. So they're building a spell here. Missouri has a plan.
Yes. Yeah. So these are these packets, for lack of a better word, that you put at
Why does
all.
Dean taste it?
Yeah, I was gonna
Why?
say, I mean, come on,
She just
seriously,
told
dude?
you. She just told you it had grave dirt in it. Why are you tasting it, man? Which, if we didn't already have the Dean drinks from the from earlier, I would have called this a Dean eats situation. It's something stupid he shouldn't be eating, but he does. Fucking Dean, man. He's
Well,
like,
common sense and him don't always go together.
no, he's it. If there's a joke, he'll find it.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So they've now got to knock holes in. Now watch the plug coming out of the wall,
Yeah,
because they've
it's
now got
very
to,
like, mm.
yeah, they've got to, so they've now got to try and knock holes before the spirit gets them,
Right.
which, as we're about to see, doesn't work so well.
And again, Dean is now chopping a hole into the wall right next to an electrical outlet. That's got to be safe.
Yeah, that's just flat out stupid. That,
Trying
and
to
I mean,
electrocute
it's
himself.
they keep talking about speed, yet none of them are, in my opinion, going particularly quickly.
Right.
It's like, okay, guys, you're talking about speed, so you've got
Yep.
the hole, like
And he's
shove
cut
it,
through a wire. He
just
has, in fact,
shove
chopped
it
through the
and
wire.
run,
Yep.
like like
No, he's going to stand there. I do like the way he flips the table up as the knives come at him. And this
okay.
is a
So
legit choke.
we have a Sam gets choked here.
We do have a Sam gets choked.
Yeah.
Let's let this play out, and then
Oh, okay.
we'll check our card. Yeah, Sam's having a rough go of it here. That is a legit choke.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah, that
he
is 100% a choke.
and his
So,
button fly
and Dean
clean.
comes running to the rescue here, as he
Yeah.
somehow manages to break him free.
Well,
And
yeah, he
now,
can't. Yeah, he's trying to get the cord off and he can't.
oh,
So he decides, okay, well, if I can't get the cord off, I'm gonna jam this. Later in the show, they'll call these things hex bags. So
yes,
he throws the hex bag into the wall, and that breaks whatever the force is, and he's able to get the cord because you can see him pull the cord off over Sam's head here.
yes. But
Um,
now, see, now that's my definition of quick. Like, kick
yeah,
it,
that's
throw it.
hurrying. Yes, that's now we're in a rush. They were not in a rush before they were getting stabbed. So
It's
let's
like,
I've paused it. Let's check our cards for a choke.
I'm 99% certain I've got a choke, because I remember thinking, yes, at least
I'll get one.
I'll get
One of
one.
the boys gets choked. I do
Yep, I
have
got it.
one. Oh, yay, we both have one. No, I'm going ahead and letting
Cheers.
it. Prost.
And I'm not confident I have a one after this, because I might, because I didn't think I had the heartfelt bro moment. So I think there's one more that I get.
Yeah, well, there's a decent amount that happens towards the end. So let's see how we make it close to the end. Oh,
All right. So they
are you
say, "You
sure
sure
it's
it's
over?
over?" And she says, "I'm
Sure.
sure," but
But we've
he's
got
not
10
so.
minutes left in the episode. Like there's 10 whole minutes left in the episode. There's no way. There's no way they got it.
So, so, so yeah. So Jenny's now home. Her house is trashed.
Oh God, it's destroyed.
So, and of course, I love how Missouri now looks at us and says, "Dee don't clean it up."
It. And then she
But,
says,
and
"Don't
it's
you fuss at me, boy."
Dean
Me?
is not used to this at all, of being the one that's like getting the short end of things. He's usually the one giving the short end.
Yeah, she's taken none of his shit, and I love it.
It's awesome.
It is
It's
pretty awesome.
absolutely awesome. So
She's mean.
so yeah, so as far as they are, as far as Missouri is concerned, everything is good. But
It's all perfectly
nope,
fine. Totally safe.
yep,
Go
nope.
right to go right to sleep.
Yeah, that wouldn't work so well for me.
No.
So, so Jenny's going to bed here just as all heck is about to break loose here. And the bed starts moving. This poor woman cannot catch a break.
No,
Absolutely.
that is not rats.
No, no, that is not rats. And I love how Dean looks at Sam and goes, "Explain to me again what we're doing here." And
Mhm.
he's like, "I've got a bad feeling about this." And hopefully after this, when Sam says, "I've got a bad feeling," Dean's response will just be, "Oh, fuck." Because I know how this ends. So now he sees the woman, Jenny, in the window, just like in her dreams.
And
Hmm.
yeah, this looks just like what we saw from Sam's nightmares. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. So, yes, and she's trying the door, it's not working, and here comes the woman in the flames, walking right toward her. And it's Jenny, and he, of course, can't get the door, and it's stand back, and we have somebody kicking in a door.
We have a door kick. We'll check our cards in just a moment. We've got a
So
door kick.
so he sees the girl. He's now I love this line coming up. He's got
Yes.
both the kids in their arm in his arms. He's got the mom,
Yeah,
and
Dean is on the lawn with the
he's
mom.
watching for his brother, and he puts down and says, "Take your brother outside and don't look back,"
Yeah. Yeah.
right as it grabs him. Now, as we remember, that's almost word
Yes.
for word, not quite, but
No, but
close to
it's
word
very
for word
close
to what to what the father said to Dean with
to Dean.
when he had them carry Sam out.
Right.
And I love that. Now
Yeah, I do.
suppose
I like the parallel.
Now, supposedly in this scene, you can see a cameraman in the shadow.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about to have a door kick here. Well, we already got the door kick. Never mind. Sam just got flung into a wall. We're gonna check our game cards in just a minute here. But we've got another Shining reference
Oh, and
where
he got slammed into a wall there.
yeah, we have a door slam, we have a door kick, and we're gonna yep, again, we've got our Shining reference. We're gonna check our cards in just a minute.
Yep.
This was
And
I
oh,
mean,
I
this was a
love this.
practical effect.
I
Yeah, this is a
love
great effect.
Yep.
You know what? Let's
And
go ahead and pause it. Let's talk
yeah,
about this effect here, and then we'll check our
I mean,
cards.
oh my God, just oh my God.
How amazing is this? And again, this is 2005. So this is a practical effect. This is an actual stunt performer on actual fire. And so Lou Bolo he was at this time their stunt coordinator, and they were trying to find, spoiler alert for this episode, they were trying to find a woman. But being on fire, you have to really keep your wits about you as a stunt
Yep.
performer. There are a lot of safety protocols in place to keep you safe. But if you get anxious and you kind of lose concentration and you take a breath, you're inhaling fire, you will burn your lungs and you will die.
Yep.
So they were having a really hard time finding a stunt woman, which, if you remember, Lynn, so a friend of ours back in college, we're still friends, but back in college, she was actively a martial artist at the time, and her teachers at her martial arts school had said to her, if you want to make money, go out to Hollywood and be a stunt performer because there are not a lot of women stunt performers, and you can
Yep.
pretty much name
Absolutely.
your price. Now she
Mhm.
decided she didn't want to spend her career breaking shit. So she decided not to follow that particular career path. But so they were having a hard time finding female stunt performers with experience with being on fire. And Lou Bolo said, "We're not going to roll the dice on this one. Like we're not going to get a woman and hope she can be fine the very first time she's on fire." So instead, they did cast or they did hire a man with a more slender build. Um, it- you know, so I mean, which honestly I think is kind of good because it obscures for longer who this figure on fire is.
Yes, yes,
So while we've
absolutely.
got it paused, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, 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 I was just completely agreeing with you
Mm,
that it makes it more ambiguous to everyone, and you really have no idea who that is until a very key line from Sam,
yeah, yeah, indeed. All right, so let's check for a choke. Let's
which
see.
well, let's see here. Well, I was gonna say I
I
already had Sam get uh let's see here. Let's say too bad it's not like I say I have someone gets knocked out, but that's not exactly the
Yeah,
same.
I don't have either a choke or somebody gets thrown against a wall. Um,
Um,
I
I
was go ahead.
I was gonna say I do have someone kicks in a door.
Okay, yeah, so we do have a door kick. I have somebody kicks in a door as well, so we'll get that one.
Yeah.
Um, and I was
Let's see.
also checking, so I mean, I don't think we officially have an electronics flicker, but the lights were on and then the lights were off because when the mom comes home, she turns the lights back on. So I would, just because these cards have been very stingy, I would be prepared to accept an electronics flicker as well, but I don't have one of those either.
I don't either.
This
I
is
don't either.
bullshit.
I say I too bad someone didn't say get this or dude, because I am a dude. And seriously, every other freaking episode someone says dude. In
Every
fact, I'm
time.
fairly certain someone's got to have said dude at some point in this episode.
Mm. Not that I have in my notes. So as of right now,
I say I don't either, and usually like I was trying to really like make notation of when these things happened, and I did not have that in my notes either.
don't have it. So sadly, no dudes. But we do have somebody on fire. So we're hitting play. Excuse me.
So so Dean is now coming in and is about to shoot the individual, and Sam suddenly realizes he knows who it is
Yeah.
and
Says
slowly
I can
becomes into
see her
picture that
now.
it's mom.
It's mom. Watch Dean. There's this little trimmer in the end of
Yep,
the shotgun. Oh my
yep,
goodness, so good.
yeah. Look at just the shock on
Oh
Dean's
yeah.
face.
Mom, you get this quiet little voice. This is the first time he's seen his mother since he was 4 years old.
Like that's just oh my god. Like
So
of
good.
course she hasn't aged and
Well,
he
no.
has. So
Yeah.
they're basically the same age.
Well, yeah,
And
because she's 29, he's 27. So yeah, this is her son is now for all intents and purposes the same age she is. Okay, I'm gonna give you a Sam cries here because normally I like to see the tear run down, but that is more than just a misty eye.
I was gonna say, well, there are definitely tears in those eyes of his.
Yeah, that's but that's not just a little like it's not just a little mist. Like, okay, I usually like to see more, but that's a legit cry, I think. Oh, and this is a great shot with
Yeah,
Sam Smith with who plays Mary, the way her hair blows back as she
yeah.
catches fire. She's like, "Get out of my house."
And this is when you find out that the mother destroyed the poltergeist because the two of them canceled each other out. So she
Yeah.
destroyed herself in destroying the poltergeist,
Yeah, she sacrificed herself to save her sons.
which so does not surprise anybody.
No. Well, and there's a great thing here. She looks at Sam and she says, "I'm sorry." What is she sorry for? It, we're gonna have to wait and see.
What I think is also great about this is, well, now Missouri is like, no, not
Oh,
even
now I'm
here.
really certain. I thought I was certain before, but now I'm really certain that everything's gone.
So yeah, so and this is when you find out that the two spirits canceled each other out, because I know I got slightly ahead of myself earlier.
That's
And this is and when she talks about how the mom was protecting her boys
mhm.
and everything. But what I think is really neat about this is that,
Mhm.
and I know I'm getting slightly ahead of things here,
Right.
but like you can see Jenny kind of in a moment almost flirting with Dean, and Dean doesn't go for it.
No. No, she's got 2 kids. That is a world of responsibility he is not interested in. But yeah, she touches his arm. She walks by. She strokes Sam's arm.
Do you think it's that he's not interested in that responsibility, or that what he just saw
Mm,
was just too overwhelming in that moment, and he's just not mentally there at that moment? Because see, that's where I went mentally, was just seeing his mom and the house and all of that. Just he just couldn't go there in that moment. Like, it's like, you
yeah,
know
no,
what?
that's a great point. That's a great. I think that's really plausible. It absolutely could be that. And if you thought that Supernatural didn't have any more bombs to drop, oh boy, are you wrong.
Yep, as I love how Missouri says here, he has amazing abilities. How could he not sense his own father? And there we have him.
There's JDM. And I love how they tease this out. Like the camera's on her, and then she comes around, and the camera's still on her back. And even when the camera comes past her, he's got his face in his hands. Like they obscure that he's here so long. Like they do a really nice job with how they film that, I think.
Hmm. And she's like, really? You can't even talk to your own kids? And he's like, I want to. I just can't till I have this figured out. And it's like, really? Oh,
Well,
you
and
just
what
want to strike.
you
You just
wanna
want.
strangle this guy, like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, what is wrong with you?" But I do love at the end where he says, you know, he can't see his sons no matter how much he wants to, "Not until I know the truth." And that's the very first thing that he had in his journal was, "I went to Missouri and I learned the truth." So there are these kind of fun bookends here with John Winchester and his search for truth.
Yeah.
Um, the last thing I'm going to mention, that I'm going to let you make your comment, is as the boys were driving away from the house, there was this really beautiful score. The composer for this episode is Chris Leonard's, and there's a really beautiful little piece of music there as the boys drive away. So yeah, John came after all, but
Yes.
he wasn't there to help his sons.
So then to me, he came, but he really didn't, because
No.
the sons were still on their own to figure this out.
Yeah, and so what is it that made him show up in town if he had no intention of helping his sons when Dean is fucking begging him?
Yeah.
Like, I need your help, please. And not there. So why is he there?
I don't know. And I feel like in the journal, he says, I went to Missouri to learn the truth, and he's with her. I feel like he knows the truth. It's like he knows the truth as to, like, whether he can deal with it is a whole different
Mm.
ball game. But I feel like he knows the truth. He may not be able to face it, but he knows it.
It, you know, well, and I think it begs the question is clearly there is a piece of information he thinks is still out there. He's not surprised when Missouri says, as powerful as your son is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there is clearly something going on here that's more than more than appears to be on the surface.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. 100%.
indeed. All right, so that is our episode. What do you think?
Wow.
Holy shit,
Wow.
this is a good one.
Yeah, I can honestly say this ranks up there as one of my personal favorites. I
Mhm.
just, oh my dear Lord.
Yeah, so one thing you loved, one thing you hated.
Oh my God, dude. I think the performances are just unbelievable. I mean, not
Yeah.
that they're not always good, but I think, I mean, just the levels you see of Dean in this one,
Mhm.
just he takes it to a whole nother level in this one that just is amazing.
Yeah.
Just unbelievably amazing. I in my opinion, you see a completely different Dean.
Mhm.
And I
And
love it.
something you hated.
Oh wow.
Can you come up with anything? Because I couldn't. I racked
There's
my brain and I
nothing
drew an
I
absolute blank on
really
something I hated.
there's nothing I really, I mean, I could nitpick something if I really had to, but there's nothing I really hated. Like, no, there's like you no. I really can't come up with, like, usually in an episode there's something that really irks my soul, and yeah, no. I mean, as I said, except for, I mean, like, I wish the boys had like, obviously, like, I wish they'd, it's like their version of hustling and mine isn't quite the same thing, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's something I hated. It's more like, come on, people, light a fire under you. But I know that's the point of the scene. So
Mm,
when they're trying to get the little bags
right.
into the thing, like, I know that's the point of the scene. But so yeah, but I wouldn't say I hated that. It's just you want to light a fire under their ass.
Mhm. If you've got to nitpick something or nickpit it, that's the only thing you can come up with.
um,
Well, you did better than I did because like I racked my brain and there was nothing I could think of that
so
I could say like I have the tiniest complaint with. There's that tiny little flub with
yeah, I was
the
gonna say, to me
lock
they
on the door.
Yeah, see, to me, that's the only thing that irritated me was they should have caught that and edited that better.
Yeah,
But that's it. But like to me, like even I mean, we're not that it's not that old that they shouldn't have been able to catch that and redo that 2.5 minute of scene and been like, okay, the door, yes, the lock is supposed to be there. Let's replay that 2 minutes and lock the door properly.
yeah. And you're not wrong. At the same time, they had very real schedule and budgetary limits. So there were they filmed an episode in 8 days, and those days were very commonly 14 hours, 16 hours. Like they did long days. Um, so and unfortunately they just didn't have the take, that
Yeah.
I'm sure they caught it in the editing and they didn't have the time, the money, or the resources to be able to fix it. Also keeping in mind that we talked about this before, that the visual effects, the CGI stuff was all being done, that was all being outsourced. So
Right.
once they moved that in-house, they had a little bit more flexibility that they could go in virtually and fix those things. But in season one, if they didn't have the time or the money and hadn't budgeted for an outside vendor to fix those things, they were SOL.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I mean, I think to your point, I think that speaks to the caliber of this episode, that the only thing we can find to say is wrong with it is that they made a small flub with the child safety lock.
Yeah. And I
Um,
might add, if it wasn't for the fact that I kind of get a kick out of like, because when I do my research for the episodes when we record this, I actually like research like what are the tiny little errors so that for very intentionally for like commentating purposes, like
mhm.
okay, this should have been done this way and this way. So do I think did I notice that one anyways? I believe I did.
Yeah,
But but some of the stuff that like I mentioned, had I not done the research that I do before we do these shows, I never would like would I have
no,
honestly
you're caught up
known
in the
that
story.
yeah, would I have honestly known that the garbage disposal theoretically should not have done that much damage? No. Well, I would absolutely not have known that. I found that
Right.
out from research. I still, even though I'm looking for it, cannot find the cameraman in that one scene, even though they say he's in there. But I
Yeah, no,
was
that's
even
some
looking,
eagle-eyed viewers there, because I haven't spotted it either. I
yeah,
believe them, but I'm caught up in the story at that point. Like, I don't care if the cameraman's full, like, I don't care if I see the cameraman's ass in the middle of the shot. I'm I'm watching Dean trying to hack his way through that door because his brother is in a house is on fire. And there
yeah, oh,
is nothing on earth that is going to stop him from getting into that house for his brother. That's all I care about. I agree that there are some things that you notice, and there are some things that just you're caught up in the story.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so it's like, So, so I mean, I still enjoy doing the little bit, be like, oh yeah, now I see it, now I see it, and
That I don't
but
see.
yeah,
I believe them, but I don't see it.
yeah,
And I think for me, it's fairly similar. I mean, again, racking my brain, there's essentially nothing I can come up with that I hated. As far as what I loved, one word, Jensen. Like,
yes,
holy shit. Like, he's a talented actor, and
yes, he
this
is.
is relatively early in his career. I mean, not super early, but um I think at this point he would have been, I think, 27. He started acting at 18. So, he's 9 years into his career. And just you everything that he adds, and it's so much of it is so subtle. Like he like quirks an eyebrow and you see everything that is going on with Dean. Like
Yep.
he delivers some standout performances in this episode. Um Not in any way to diminish Jared. And I mean, we're going to talk a lot more about Jared. Jared has his own episodes where
Oh
like
yeah.
he just knocks it out of the park. But this particular one, it's like Jensen is just a force in this one.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, it's
Go
because I
ahead.
mean Jensen is usually the sarcastic,
Yeah.
like he uses sarcasm as sort of a protective shield.
Yes, absolutely.
And you see the raw emotion of Dean in this one. So Jensen takes it to a
Yeah.
whole different level, just a whole different
Mhm.
character in this
Yeah.
one.
Well, it's all the shit that Dean typically hides behind this
Yes.
wall of bravado that it's so overwhelming that everything he's doing to try to hold it together is failing. And you watch him just crumble. That this you watch this facade just crumble, and he does such a good job with it.
Yes.
So before I go on until tomorrow about how good Jensen is, let's it because I will talk until episode 327 about how talented Jensen Ackles is. Let's take one last look at our cards here. Yeah, not we have a smattering, not a terribly boozy episode this one. So I have the most I have is 3 in a row, and I have a total of 5. So how about
Most
you?
I
How did
had
you
was
do?
2 in a row, and I have a total of 4.
Okay, so I have lost by the least, which I think I end up saying like everyone, I think I say, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna do that well." And then everyone, I'm like, "Oh, I've lost by the least." I
Yes.
swear this is totally random. Like I don't I Lynn generates her own card, I generate my own card. It's totally random. It's not like I'm stacking the deck in my favor. So
Nope, just somehow when you hit generate,
it
it likes you.
apparently, well, and the bingo baker card generator doesn't know what episode we're watching either. So
No.
it's it's all a crapshoot, and I seem to keep losing by the least, but it's a fairly stingy card. So I'm gonna have one
Cheers.
more.
Yeah, I've still got like half a can left.
Okay. Well, that oh wait, Wizard Dave says we forgot to check for Sam or Dean cries. Hang on a second.
Uh,
Thank you, Wizard Dave. Sam, I do. I have a Sam or Dean cries. Thank goodness the wizard is looking out for us.
yeah.
So, well, and you know what? I'm almost out here. So I'm gonna finish off. Did you have it, Lynn?
I don't think so.
Oh, nuts. Well, it
Uh,
didn't help me much. I still only have 3 in a row, but
no,
well spotted.
I'm double checking. Yeah, nope.
No, the man behind the curtain is paying much more attention. So- all right. Well, Now it's last call. Thanks for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends, tell your family. Please like our videos, subscribe, comment. It makes it easier for other people to find us too. We love hearing from our SPN family, so please feel free, comment in the videos. And we are also available. You can send us an email at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, also at Hunter Fuel Podcast. In our next episode, we'll be watching season 1, episode 10. We are cruising right along. We're almost
No pun
mid-season.
intended.
As I send you a postcard when I'm cruising along with Sam and Dean chasing whatever made the the eclipse happen. Our next episode is going to be we're going to be watching Asylum when Sam
Ugh.
gives this is a good one.
Oh,
Sam
God.
gives Dean a piece of his mind. Until then, stay safe, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.